Hey, top of the morning to you. I am Michael, or as the grandkids call me, Roo. And you know why they call me Roo, right? Because I paint roosters. That's the reason. But hey, it's a good place to start. You got to start somewhere. You have to paint something first if you're going to be a painter. If you're going to be an artist, you gotta have something that you make. Be a maker. Hey, good morning, top of the morning to you. It's Tuesday. Um, I'm so glad that you're joining me, and I see the names popping up already, which that means the technology's working, and I love it. Thank you very much. I will say hello to a few of you, and then I'm going to get about painting, and I'm going to try to do that quickly. You know, I get into this thing, and when you see, I'm already doing it. When you start your life as a storyteller, and you don't know you're a storyteller until somebody says, "Hey, he's a storyteller." And I moved from Tennessee to North Carolina, and I got involved with other storytellers, and I got involved in the storytelling guild. And so I would go on stage, and you just stand there and you tell a story. And you just start talking, and it happens, and it just sort of, hey, this connects to this, connects to this, connects to this, just like art. Oh, it is an art form. All right, see, I did it already, and I didn't mean to do it, but it's just how I roll. Elise McQuillam, thank you for being on the show this morning. I have to look over here because that's where my computer is. You know, someday there again, I'm the camera crew. Donna Sell Barton, thanks for being on the show. Uh, Buenos dias, Patricia says from Texas. Donna Bullman, thank you for being on the show. Pat Brooks, yes, I just, before I hooked up my other camera and moved over here, saw a note from you, and you and I'll connect today. You know, some of you know Pat Brooks, Patricia Brooks, as she's known on the show, P.L. Brooks, as you see her sign her artwork. She and I have been working on a book, and it's rules. It's noodle, doodle, fiddle, piddle. She's really done her part and like quite efficient. But I'm like, oh, you know, my dad always said to me, son, you leave a big wake. You know what that means, right? There's just stuff all over the place, and yes, I do. But I'll get there. Okay, so the things that are said on the show that we honestly think, will be helpful to you and to your kids and grandkids and to classes that you work with in the future about just doing simple watercolor. I'll flip a couple of those to you in a minute and give you an idea. Jackie Wallace, thank you for being on the show. Lori Stanley, Henderson, Handelmeyer, Henrys. I just made that last one up there. I needed another H. Thank you for being on the show. And Ash Whitty, thank you for being here from India. That's a long line connection. You know, remember the phones you used to make when you were kids out of soup cans and string, you know, and you go, hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You know, can you hear me now? And I think about the lines and all the wireless connections today. Beverly Miller, so thank you for being on the show from India. That's a long reach out, and I hope this is fun for you. Beverly Miller, thank you for being on the show. Chris Whitaker, hey, thank you too when you guys like the show. It really does help throw Roodoodles and keep Roodoodles happening. And Belinda Piazza, I've seen you many times from Texas. I just don't know if I pronounced names correctly. In fact, there's some things I still don't say correctly because, well, East Tennessee will do that to you, folks. Viv Lim, welcome. Bob, morning from the Blissum. The Blissum. And I love the fact that it's got a TH in it. Blissum. It's such a good word to say. It's Red Skelton, isn't it? Yeah, that's his tongue in there sometimes. The Blissum Cornfields in Iowa. Thank you, man, for doing that. And I hope the Chamber of Commerce has found you. If not, someone write a note to the Chamber of Commerce and say, Bob is doing more about the cornfields of Iowa than anybody we've ever met. It's actually working. Bob, Julie, I think, is it Julie? Julie's your wife. And you know, you guys, I'm getting to know you a little bit. Maybe Julia, but I think it's Julie. And she'll post here in a minute sometimes. But you guys must be in different parts of the house because I get different posts, but different art desk. I know that. I know you love golf, and I know that, and I think I'm going to have Baisden on the show one day, and I'm going to get him to do a little golf quick sketch. So you'll love that. And I may have a guest this Saturday, folks, someone that I think you're going to want to hear from. He's a young man who is an architect, and he actually paints with us sometimes on this show. So we're working on a project to have him come in and not come in here physically because he lives in New Jersey. But and then my daughter is going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. So we're going to bring her in on a Saturday morning. Although today's Tuesday, right? Good morning, Shanlin, Barbara Meyer. Thank you for being on here. Kimberly Nash, Virginia McClure, Yuri Maloff. Yuri, I have no idea where you live, but that's a cool name. Jennifer Yentz from Indiana. So I have India and I have Indiana. Karen Binder, thank you for being on the show. Binder Bender, Heather Kuhlman. How do you do, Buckaroos? Henry, ready. You know, you've gone down the Cowboy Road a lot here. Next, I'm going to be getting the guitar, whoever it is, and I'll be yodel, 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 yodel. Yeah, I used to. My dad could yodel. Actually, he was a pretty good yodeler. Holly Schneider, Pauline Bold, Linda Lawless. Good grief, Karen Spencer, Kay Spencer. I'm so sorry, Kay. Pat Normandale, thank you for being on the show. Jacqueline Goodrich. Some of you folks really do give up a lot of time to be here, and I'm thankful for you for piling on in the mornings. And I hope that this is being applied, listen to me, being applied to your artwork, and you're sharing that artwork with people close by. And I know Pat does, and I know Irma does, and I know Fern does. A lot of you people just put things in envelopes. Don't just mail it to me. Mail it to people all over the place. Just find somebody in your address book that you haven't sent a note to in a long time and send them a little piece of art. It'll blow their mind. Thank you for doing that. Trish Brown, Philip, glad that you're on the show, man. Philip, I love your style. You got a great sense of humor. Brenda Tucker, good morning from a wide spot in the road. I love it. Thank you very much. And Wester, I think I said that. Jack Wolfenbarger, good morning to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Brenda Dow, June Jones, Sherry Sharon, I think it is. But Margaret Meisinger, nice to see you back on the show. Sheila Hunt, Pat Thrift, good grief. Look at all these folks watching with a friend today. Laurie is watching with me from Greenville, South Carolina. Laurie, I like Greenville, South Carolina, but I like the people that Skeeter hangs out with. Could you, sometimes his art, look, Laurie, I can't say any more about it right now. All right. Betsy from PA, thank you for being on the show. Jan Campbell. All right, I'm going to jump through some of this because there's Jennifer Parker. Thank you. Here's Cecile from Belgium. Thank you for being on. I love the coffee there and the chocolate in the Grand Place, but my friends love the Belgian beer, I'll tell you that. One time I was in Belgium and laid down in the middle of that Grand Place, and I have a great Belgium story. My wife came back from Belgium one time and had been there, and they walked around the corner, and there was an orchestra there, about an 80-piece orchestra, and probably 50, 60 voices, and they were singing Carmina Burana, Oh Fortuna, and we had never heard it. She was early on. She was traveling with her family, and I was working in North Carolina at the time, and she came home. She said, there's this piece of music. It's Carl Orff. I wrote it down, Carmina Burana, and I said, let's go get it. And I wore that thing out. Then I had to buy the CD, and I wore the CD out. I should put that music on sometime and paint to it. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Chip Fur, wowee! Good morning to you, brother. My brother Chip Fur, I love. He's my coffee friend over here. He's more than just that, but man, that dude. You know when you're hanging out with Chip, when Chip comes into the room. When Chip comes into the room. Not only do you hear his laughter, but you smell coffee. Yeah. All right, Audrey, I see you on the show today. When it warms up, get the paint. Terry Tardy, she made it. And hey, storyteller Sharon Kirk Clifton, there you are. Okay, she is a storyteller. I think we communicated the other day. I sent so many emails, but yes, and I went through some of your work, and I liked your book. I don't have it, but I like looking at it. Julie, I was right. There you are. You're on the show. Pam Patterson. All right, so I'm going to get busy here, and I'll say hello to some of you later. So Paulette and Bob Hamilton, Pauletta Hamilton, Snow and Morning. I don't think that's Snow and Morning from Raton. I thought it was Baton Rouge at first, but no, that's not happening. All right, so here we go. Spend some time on Ruse Crew Facebook. Lots of fantastic ideas and inspiration. Yes, there is a page called Ruse Crew, if you don't know about this, and I didn't start it. You people started it. The community started a page called Ruse Crew. It's on Facebook. You can go there, and a lot of people post their artwork there. And from time to time, I'll get a cup of tea, about to go to sleep in the afternoon. I need something to just shift gears from editing and writing and what other crazy stuff that I do. And I'll grab a cup, and I'll sort through there, and I see some of the most hilarious art, brilliant art, sweet tender art, funny art, sentimental art, art with stories. It's your art. Let me tell you something about art. Not everybody in the whole world is going to love your art. So, last Tuesday we did a thing on Charles Reed, and here's the desk today. Let me show you this. I got to get the painting here because I've been talking for 9 minutes. Holy smokes! All right, look at this. This is Fabriano, and this was the paper yesterday. I'm going to come back to my thought. ADD, ADHD, or fast brain people, which is what we're called. Just such a better title than ADD, ADHD, isn't it? That man is fast brain. Thank you, Dr. Jim Poole. You're fast brain. I know I am. So are you, my brother. Okay. Hey, so we were doing a thing yesterday on hot and cold paper. I did if you want to see it, and thank you for all the emails and notes I got that said, hey, that demo really helped me, because you go to an art store and you're new to art, or you're just breaking back into art. Has art changed? No, still putting things on paper and sketching and drawing. It's still the same, but some of the tools have changed. Not too much. You still had to go kill a goat and you ate him and then you used his hair for painting. I just made that part up. But the point is this, and I've had goat. It paints better than it eats. But it's not bad if you have a pressure cooker. All right. Mine was cooked. Mine was cooked in Africa over mahogany wood. So it tasted like I was eating a dresser. Dang. I'm not even funny, and I made myself laugh. Okay. So I had Fabriano paper, and I had Fabriano cold press and hot press. I did a comparison. I wasn't done with the hot press. I wanted to paint something on it and just let it paint today in this first demo that I want to do, and a painting I want to do today anyway, is whether it's a demo or not, I'm doing a painting. I just want to, let the paint do what the paint does. Sometimes you guys, and I'll look at your paintings, you're not painting to please me. You're not painting whether I like it or not. I don't grade. This is not, even in the class I teach, which is on Wednesdays, I don't grade people. I need you to just get a hold of your art and say, this is my voice. This is what I want to say. This is my story. This is how I tell it. That's the praise. That's the grade you get. It's you grading you. When I put one down and you hear me say, oh, I like that, I'm not kidding. I like it. And if you go, whoa, has that guy lost it? I go, maybe so, but I like it. So I paint for me first. I paint a painting that I like. I've mailed a lot of crazy paintings out, and some of them aren't the best, but I liked them, and I felt good about sending them out. You see the difference? It's about your confidence. All right, so I started with Charles Reed last week, and I did a whole thing on Charles Reed about just being loose, and Charles Reed in his watercolor classes taught very unorthodox. He didn't teach what other art people taught. It wasn't because he didn't respect them or believe that they had a place. It was just that he thought, this is what works for me. And people were sort of drawn to that, and they liked it. And it helped them with their technique, their tips, their ideas. So I buy into that theology of art. He also was a little, I'm going to use the word crude, but not crude in his language. He could have been. I never was in a class with him, but I don't think so. He seemed like a very nice guy. Some of you have had classes with him, but my point is this. He was a little rough. He just went, let's just splash the brush over there and throw that. And I thought that was my style. I was doing this, and I found him, and I went, somebody after my own heart. I love this. So he would just throw paint, and he would splatter paint, and he would push his brush like this and let it just flip paint. And I love that. And Lian Zin did that when I painted with a Chinese artist. He was like, here, just blow on it. And I'm going like, yeah, that's what I do. Spray water on it. Turn it upside down and hit it one time. And so that's fine. It was pretty unorthodox for people who taught everything in order, everything taped down, everything locked in. Make sure your warm colors are here. Your cool colors are here. Make sure all your brushes are on their brush rest and lined up and at this angle. I'm going like, I can't do that. You have just turned the fiddle into a violin, and you've taken a hoedown music into a symphony that I'm not ready to play. Do you see those juxtapositions? Do you hear that story right there? So his style was a little more like, just throw it on there, have fun with it, let it be what it is. And then he would sort of go on to say, let's see if we get a painting out here in the first pass. Don't just keep mussing with it and fussing with it and flopping it around all over the place. So I love that concept of how he painted. All right, I'm going to start a little music here. Ah, Aaron Copeland. Appalachian Spring. I can paint to that. So today I'm just going to throw paint. I bought these wonderful paints and can't think of anything good. I paint well. Getting frustrated. Irma, great point. Thank you. Then just let the paint be the paint. Waste 2 pieces of paper today by doing swatches. Swatches. Okay? I'm writing down swatches because I don't want to forget to come back to that. Hey, Bob, thank you for the commercial there. Climb's Roast is what chipped the coffee. Climb's Roast is fantastic. Bob owns it. He owns some. He doesn't own Climb's Roast. He owns some Climb's Roast coffee. Swatches, paint, Irma. Okay. All right, so here we go. I'm going to come back to that. You're right on. What do I paint? I have all these supplies. My story exactly. I had all this paint, all these supplies. My wife buys them to me. She brings me in and says, paint something, or you need to be painting. And I went, what do I paint? Took me a while. Don't get frustrated with the process. If you love the smell, the feel, and you want to make things, stay with it. All right, so I'm gonna just sketch this, and I think I'm gonna sketch it in this pen right here. Here we go. All right, started this in pencil. There he is, big old Roo here this morning. Big old Roo. How many times can I say that? Sketch it to Appalachian Spring. That'd be fun, huh? Well, I have to play this again. Wow. I have to hit repeat on my player over here. What a great piece of music. It was an old hymn, you know that? Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, says he. Which came first? This refrain or the old hymn? I'm thinking the old hymn came first. Look at that. Okay, so I've just sketched this out on hot press paper. All right. Hey, Rhett, welcome from Canada. I went to Frida Diego exhibit yesterday, and guess what I saw in 2 of her paintings? Bugs. Yes! I told you, learn to paint bugs. A bug can always show up. All right, so I'm just going to let the paint be the paint today. Here we go. I'm going to take my colors right here. Watch this. Throw them down. And I'm just going to take a little bit of a misting bottle and spray them a little bit. I'm going to cover that up because I don't want the painting to get wet yet. So I'm just going to spray right here. Would hold this off to the side, but then you can't see what I'm doing. Why do I wet these colors like this? So that when I go to get color out of dry pans, it probably dried over the night, I'm not pushing my brush down in there and disfiguring the hair on the brush. These are already kind of disfigured because, like I said, they're mostly goat. But I'll give you an idea. So put that over there. I think you can see the brushes I have laying out here. I'm going to work a little different today. I'm just going to show you everything I have stacked up here. See where I put water right there? Didn't really mean to. So I'm going to dry that off with a paper towel. That's why you don't spray your paints over your painting, but it is what it is. Charles Reed says you just make mistakes and you just go on. You go, I'll just paint his body a little bigger out there. All right, here we go. I want more water. I want some water in this big old brush. Look at this rascal here. This is a honking bamboo brush. It is actually not even hollow. It's just on a solid piece of, well, I guess it's hollow inside and it's bamboo. It's an amazing product, bamboo is. All right, so I'm just putting some water on here, but I'm not spraying it. I'm just having it kind of controlled. And let me hold this up and see if you can get a glare on it. Look, there, right there. See that? Oh, there it is. See the shiny? That's the water that I've put. Yeah, shiny. Mistakes happen. I was showing you that and the water took off right through his face. Now it's going to just make a big old streak up through there. It is what it is. Okay, here we go. All right, look at the size of this brush. Look at the size of this brush. This is made for painting paper bigger than I even have laying down here today. I am going to mess this up. I'm gonna switch places. Here we go. I'm going to put this over here and these over here. I was trying to be creative. All right, let's start at the top of this roux and work down. Here we go. Look, I'm painting with the big one. Just being loose and throwing some paint in there. There's some blow by. It just happens sometimes. All right, who cares? All right, let's go get a little bit of yellow. Sometime I want you just to put on an apron, clean off everything that you don't want paint splattered on, and just lighten up and go after it. I see some of your artwork, and I love the concept, and I love the detail, and I love where you're going with your stories. Man, some of your stories are just brilliant. Sometimes I feel like you're still like this. Here we go. Can you see this? You're still like this. You're like, I got to get that in there very carefully. I want to make sure I get this done like this. There's a time for those little details. There is a time for those. But when you're getting a feel for how watercolor mixes and how it comes together and how it makes watercolor look like watercolor, and that some artist had a great time doing it, just lighten up a little bit. And so just throw some paint in here. Just splatter it around a little bit. Throw it. I'm gonna reach in my palette today and I'm gonna get a color you've never seen me use right here in a second. I'm just gonna pop it in. Not that one. You know what that is, right? That's just ultramarine blue. Here's maybe a cerulean type blue. Here is, oh, look at this. What? He found some purple in there. And look what I'm doing with this brush now. Look at the end of it. I'm just going to leave it sort of just jumbled up like that. Now I'm going to clean it out a little bit. I'm going to go get a little more of this blue, and I'm going to get some detailed feathers, because I do need a couple that look like, here's a rooster. He didn't just fall off the turnip truck. Maybe he did. And notice what's happening. There's a lot of water in this painting, and so this is that hot press paper. So it's slick. You're going to see the lines. You're going to see my pen come through. You're going to go, oh no, I can see where he drew the rooster. So what? I drew the rooster. And you're going, well, no, this was a quick study, dang straight. I've been at it for 2 minutes. This is a quick study on just being loose with watercolor. All right? My mother would have washed my mouth out for soap right then for saying dang, but I said it anyway. You can use a straw. Yes, you can use a straw, Sheila. Sheila says you can use a straw to get down in there and blow that paint around, and she's absolutely right. Sometimes I just like to hold the paper up, though, and just kind of go and blow on it and then get paint all over everything. I'm being a little more cautious today than normal because I'm still covering. In fact, there's a painting I was going to do a little later in the show. I sketched it out, and I've already painted it. Oh, well, mistakes happen. All right. I should have a whole roll of paper towels up here somewhere. All right. Sharon Kirk Clifton says she plays it on a mountain dulcimer. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I had a mountain dulcimer one time. They make great canoe paddles too. Do you know that? If you're out in a canoe and you lose your paddle, you can just use the dulcimer. Just kidding. Actually, I know all about them though. Really. 1 string, 3 string, 2 string, drone. They're a lot like dong 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 dong. All right, the music's cranking up here. I don't know what I'm listening to right now, but it's just going a little too hot for me. All right, let me slow down here now and just mix up some leg color. I think you can see what I'm doing over here. I'm just putting a little yellow, a little gamboge. A little bit of, I like a little gray in this leg color. And then I like to reach in here and maybe just get a little bit of this gold or this lucky penny, copper kettle, lucky penny, all these colors run together, copper penny, and then just put a little bit onto here. All right. Going in and just grabbing some of this excess water here. And then I'm just going to let this run a little bit. Watch this. All right, can you see right here? Look at the end of my brush right here. See right here? All right, I got a little bit of Roy G. Bibb here. Got a rainbow coming down. Watch, I'm going to turn my painting down and watch. See it coming down? Look, it's running down. Look, 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 look. It's coming down. It's going to mix with this purple right here. I have no idea what that's going to become. Kind of an ugly brown, which I love on the low end of the rooster. Pick up a little bit of this orange and put it in his leg right there. So that comes in together. I like this purple coming in right there. I'm going to go back and put some of that. I've changed brushes on you. I've now got a number 8 watercolor brush. So, Linda, I see you putting out some instructions there of what you do, and you say you moisten your paints with a pipette. Yeah, but you know what? You're just way more careful than I am. I like to just have. I'm so far from a type A. I'm on the other end of the alphabet. So, here's my point. You are going to soon, real soon, get to the point where you figure out what you like to paint, where you like to paint. In your house, in the light, outside. You don't want to paint outside when your paints are freezing. That's no fun for anybody. You don't want to go out and, there's times when you have to chop wood. I don't think I want to go out and paint in the snow today, unless you just need a good snow scene. If you need a good snow scene, then open the drapes. Drop a little shot of black in there and just let that dance around a little bit. Maybe a little more water on that. This is a wet, wet, wet painting. There's a lot of water coming down. Can you see that? Look at that right here. And then I'm going to let this just turn over a little bit and come this way, just like this. Just let the paint be the paint today. And that was our story on this rooster. All right. There's one color missing that you don't see yet from me. Here it goes right here. I'm going to put it right here. There's a little turquoise swap. That's like painting a bug. That's sort of a little trademark paint that I like to put in there. And I don't see any green on the back of this rooster or down in these tail feathers right here. I feel like I'm competing with my orchestra today. All right, I think I'm done. All I got to do is do a little, groundwork here. I always like to ground my my paintings a little bit. So I'm just going to go in with a pen right here and build a little bit of ground. I don't waste a lot of time making dirt and flowers and grass and all that. That's not what this painting is about. This painting is about this Roo who's looking back over his shoulder. We'll go get a little bit of green, drop it right in on top of this. In fact, I wouldn't even have to go back to my palette. Look, I could go right here, right there, and pick up this by rolling my brush in it and make that the, almost dropped this on my new sweater. That would have been frustrating, huh? My wife came home last night from Colorado and brought me this new sweater. And, hey, I'm sporty, huh? And yeah, she was in Colorado socially distancing from me. With several of her dear friends that our kids grew up together when we lived in Florida for a long time. And, when you have a free place to stay and you have a plane ticket that doesn't cost you anything and you're going to be in a condo with a couple friends, you put on your mask and you go. So it was great to have her home. I was a chef all week, but I'm tired of chefing it today. So where's Yaya been? Well, she's been, look at this, I'll show you. Here we go. Ready? Are you ready? Yaya, where have you been? Boom. There she is in Vail, in the middle of a courtyard somewhere doing the splits. I don't know whose dog that is, but he's going like, what the heck are you doing, woman? So there she is. Yaya splits the globe. That's my wife. Still doing her yoga, teaching her cooking classes, leading a women's group, Bible study. She's a pretty amazing woman. Pretty awesome. I'm a blessed man. Blessed man. She's the artist that started all this. Hey, so take a look. I don't know if I'm going to do any more. That's my first pass, and I think I'm going to let this dry. I should reach over there and get my little works dryer and dry this again, but I want this to just air dry. I want to take a little time because I want you to see this by the end of the show. And so with all my talking and storytelling and intro to Charles Reed and all that, I still got time to paint another painting. And I've had fun doing this, just talking you through it. Just get messy, get that apron out as I was talking about early, and just get a little messy. And I'm going to probably let this dry just a little more before I do a little more detail in it. I was trying to get it in there right now, and sometimes this fountain pen will get a little clogged up writing on wet paper, but I'm using the Lamy, excuse me. And I also think I'm going to take my other pen. Here it is, my number 5 Pentel, and I'm just going to bring a few more little loose little hair out here like this, loose little feathers, rooster hair, rooster feathers. Oh gosh, it's a good thing you guys are not sending me a grade on the way I teach, the way I do these classes or whatever this is, this show. I do the same thing in my class, except we go into a little more detail. But for the whole group, I wanted you to know, hey, would you just lighten up sometimes and play and just make something? But know when to stop. Look, there's a holiday, there's a holiday, there's some holidays, there's a holiday, there's one. I would have loved to have left one right in there, but I didn't. Just got carried away in the water when I was putting it on, but I would like to have a little more paper to break through. There's a little bit in here, but I could use a little more in this. Hot press, that water takes off. Paint takes off. Look, it's still running right now. In fact, if you could see this, there's a puddle right here. See that shoulder that's dark? I can hold this down. Watch. If I tilt this up, look what's going to happen. See this coming down? Look right here. It's coming way on down the hill. I'm going to let it come down to about right there. And then I'm going to stop, and then I'm just going to touch it a little bit with this. And take some of that really wet out of there. That gives me a little more of that holiday look. See what I did? You just have to play with it and work with it. And you got to get a feel. And you got to move it around. Here's a feather that just rolled down here and got away from me. But I kind of like that heavy green right there. So I think, see, it surprised me with a look that I didn't know I was going to like as much. So I'm going to go back in and put a piece there. And for a little beauty mark. Nope, quit. First pass. Okay, I'll come back. I'm going to put Roodoodles right here. Roodoodles.com. An M21. That's when I painted it. I might come in. The only thing I might add here is just a little bit of yellow down in here, gamboge right in here, and then maybe with a little bit of this brush right here. Take a look. I'm going to just wet it. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. Can you see this? Just spreading it out a little bit like this. And then I'm just going to go get a little bit of green on it like this. Spread it out again after that. And then just paint a little bit of grass, wispy grass right in there like that. I don't do that very often with color. But he's so big that I wanted a little bit of grass underneath him. And I wanted a little bit of a shadow here too. So let me just put some shadow with Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is such a great color. I don't know who Mr. Payne was, but his world must have been gray. All right, there we go. Fun painting. Let the painting paint the painting. Let the painting paint the painting. Let the paint paint the painting. All right, I'm out of here. I'm going to set this down, and then I'm going to pick up another piece of paper, and we're going to start something else. I hadn't forgotten swatches. Let me lay this down carefully. Boom. And let it dry. Have a sip of tea. And this is really inexpensive paper. It's a little drawing pad. This wasn't even supposed to be in my bag. I went to Cheap Joe's and I bought some stuff. And I got home and went, I didn't order this. And then I thought, that poor little high school kid that was in front of me, she was buying some stuff for her art class. She and her mom were there, and she's going to get home and go, where's my little drawing pad? They didn't put it in the bag. No, because I paid for it, but I don't know who you are, so I can't send it to you. It's just $2. So, but here, take a little piece of paper like this. I think it's probably only 50 or 60 pound paper. 80 pound. Okay, so it's a little 80 pound sketch paper. Won't hold color real well. But I want you to do some swatches, and here's what I mean by that. We did this the other day. So, Irma, while you're waiting to see what's going to take off and what you paint, you've got all this fun paint, then play with the paint. If you just got new supplies in, if you got 2 tubes of new paint, 4 tubes, 6 tubes, 8 tubes, stand up and holler. I want you just to take some of that paint and just, you don't even have to, you just put it on the page. and let it go in there like a blob like this. Maybe a little water. Let it do this, and then go get some. What goes good with yellow? Red, because they make orange. So go in here and just make a spot right here, a little less, and just let it bleed together. And then see if you can sweep through it and make a color that you really like out here somewhere. And then let's add one more color, just completely counter productive to those colors. Oh my gosh. So you're just going to paint these swatches, and you're going to look and see and let them dry, and then get another piece of paper and do that again. And then you're going to find out things about your watercolor. You're going to go, look at what happens on this paper. And when these two colors run together with a little bit of water, okay, look what happens. There's a painting in there. You see it? Pretty cool. It's right here. It's a dog fight. It's a dog race. These two dogs are running. This dog's foot's up like that. Here's one. Here's his tail right here. Oh my gosh! You see it? You see the painting come out? There's his nose. Here's the nose on this one. Come and get it. Need to increase this little tail right here. Now you see it, right? There's his tail. There's his tail right there. This one's got his tongue hanging out. See that right there? Look at that. He's got his eye right there. There's two dogs running for dinner. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so and Pat, thank you for that suggestion. Hey, Pat Brooks is a genius, and I'm not kidding. And I when we had a long phone conversation, and I'm learning about her and her art, she has organizational skills that people like me use. So her world is one of organization and project management and art. And my world is one of mess and plowing and art. There's a big difference there. So, but she just said 80 or 90 pound watercolor, a student grade. It goes through a printer well. And yes, it's really good paper. You can't put 140 pound through a printer. It doesn't work. But that's why lots of times I do keep on the desk mixed media paper. And there's a whole passel of it here somewhere, and I've just thrown the book away. I said it, and then, oh, here it is, like this paper right here. This is mixed media paper, and this is 138, but even it's pretty stiff for a printer. But I have the other little notebook that I use. Here it is. Here it is. I'm sorry. Here it is right here. This is 98 pound. This mixed media paper right here is made by Canson. This will go through my printer, and look, it's really awesome to do those same swatches on, okay? Can't believe I just painted those two dogs. Let's try that again. All right, let's do it with some different colors. Let's go with a turquoise. Let's just put some turquoise in here like this. Just drop some water on it. And then what goes well with turquoise? Let's see. Something that's really on the other end of the spectrum. Why don't we just do an orange? Just to see what's going to happen. We'll do a pile of orange right here. And this is going to be really a brown, ugly color when it comes out right here. And then we'll do one more color just for fun. Look, I have no rhyme or reason how this is going to come out or where it's going to go. But what I do is this is the play that I want you to get used to just doing. And I'm going to paint another painting here in just a second. This gives you an idea of what you might be looking at if you're, oh my gosh, I see this one coming together too. I didn't plan these, but it's just the color of the ocean, the color of the sea. And I know what could really look great in here. Some gray, just right in here like this. You see it? I was thinking of this orange. I was thinking of this orange being a perfect claw shape for a crab. So I could take this and turn it into a crab, guarantee it. There's his legs coming down. I can keep going until I got a crab out of this. So sometimes I just want you to play. All right. All right. I'm going to drop this on the floor, and I'm going to do another painting for you this morning. Everybody cool? Green. 140 pound through my printer, only in the back feed. Denise, yeah, all you people have, you saw a dolphin in that? Oh my gosh, I do see that. Yeah, a bottlenose dolphin. Yeah, out the front. Oh boy, dogs, I need that painting. uh, so Barbara Meyer, you said you'll have to remember that when your paint shows up. When your paint shows up, just set aside a couple hours and waste some paper. And in the wasting, don't give up on it too quickly. Let it dry and go back to it. Take a look at it. Maybe move it around a little bit 1 or 2 times, just kind of like this. These 2 little dogs are going to work, okay? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in right in and I'm going to put in a little bit of an ear in that one right there. You're not going to be, and look here. I'm going to put some whiskers on the dog like this. A little more brown on his nose. I did that while it was still wet. I'll put his ear here. All right. But I'm not a dog painter, right? Denise is. Okay. Remember that when your paint comes. All right. Does anybody know of a reasonably priced scanner that does a good job of watercolor? Yes. An Epson. If you want, Epson is the scanner that I've been using for years, and I'm telling you, this is Kilimanjaro paper. I always stop and tell you that because people go, what paper is he painting on now? There you go. It's the last piece on there. And so what do I do with this little thing out here in the front? I cut it off with scissors and need a name for my purple. Okay, we'll call your purple. I'm just going to use my pocket knife because I cut better with a pocket knife than I do with scissors. I just needed to perforate that a little bit and then just rip it off out of the way like this. And then throw it somewhere on the floor. There. I know the guy that vacuums the office. Me. All right, here we go. This purple, by the way, that I'm using today, if that's what you're asking for, is Royal Amethyst. There it is right there. Royal Amethyst from American Journey, Cheap Joe's. ROYALAMETHYST, Royal Amethyst. And I buy my paint in 15 milliliter tubes. Man, they last so long. And I don't have these big old honking tubes to try and fill up small pans. Even if I'm painting in a loose thing, don't put out more than a fingernail's worth, because you don't want to dry more than you need to. But it wakes up pretty well. I don't have any problem with that. And for those of you who are germaphobes, I don't have any problem with mold or mildew. Of course, I paint every day. You want to become better artists? Paint every day. Just make a cup of tea. Set some time. Do you read in the morning? Do you study in the morning? Do you make phone calls? Just find 20 minutes. Find 30 minutes that you just sit down and play with paint. Your art in 6 months will just go crazy. Okay? Permission to play. And yes, Irma, I use American Journey, and the reason is it the best paint on the market? Absolutely not. Is Rembrandt any better? Not to me. So for me, it's perfect. Use the paint that's perfect for you. When you start realizing that you can do this craft, buy the best paint you can afford and buy the best brushes you can afford. Sheila, you asked yesterday, you said, wow. And Sheila, by the way, your work is amazing for someone who's starting. So I've had these 4 brushes out this morning. In fact, I hadn't even used that one, still dry. So I'm going to drop it off right there. I've had these 4 brushes laid out here this morning, and this is all I have used. This is a number 1 bamboo. This is probably a number 6 bamboo, or 8, maybe bigger than that. And I was doing that just to throw the amount of water in. This is a number 8 round watercolor brush. But look how these brushes are pointed. Sometimes you'll get a brush, you'll buy a cheap brush. You'll buy a $5 cheap brush, and the end of it, I'm going to show you this. I don't even have one up here. And I'm glad that I don't. But you know those little brushes that you get at sometimes in all of the pack, there's 20 of them in the pack, and you go, oh, 20 brushes for $4. You get what you pay for. So pay $20 for a good brush instead of $20 for 8 brushes that are all worth about 50 cents each. Did you hear that? Because you'll never be able to. You're going to get a brush that has an end like this. I think it was John Robert Small. Excuse me. Who yesterday said Sinus Day. Who yesterday said this? Even a big round brush that has such a point, you can put the eye on. I could do the eye of this roux with this brush. Sometimes you get these little brushes and they don't have any form or feature. They're just for kids to fill in, and they look like this. They never changed this. Watch this brush when I put it in water. Look at this brush. Boom. Comes into perfect shape, and I can take this brush, and once these brushes wear out, this is a $4, $3 brush, maybe a $5 brush at the max. I can use this thing for months. I get my money's worth, and I toss it aside, and I buy a new one next time I'm in the art store. That's why I wind up with so many. But when the grandkids come over, I'll kind of put a little mark on it, and I'll have one. But look how sharp this one is. Okay, little thing on brushes. I do these in the painting class, but I want you guys to know you're coming along. So, you will wind up with this before long, okay? You're going to wind up with this. No way out. It's just going to happen. And then you'll wind up with this. There's just no way out. It's going to happen. And then you wind up with this. It's going to happen. Yeah, it'll happen. But that's about 15 years or 12 years of brushes. And so you're going to wind up with a brush that looks like I should paint the house. There's an end right here. See, it'd be hard to do any detail with this. But if I want to just push some sky around or blend some colors, that's why I showed you this brush yesterday. This brush that all of you, so many of you jumped on the show and said, oh my gosh, that's the brush I used to glaze my pottery with. You're right. Okay, this is still one of the greatest brushes known to mankind, but it's hard to do detail. All right, here we go. 9:45, I got to hustle. So, you guys are sending great information back and forth. Here's what I love about this show. I'm over here painting, having fun. You guys are sending like, well, I like this and I like this. Go for it. You're the community. That's why Ruse, if some of you haven't been to Ruse Crew, do that. Ruse Crew is a great place to post some of this information too. Okay? All right, here we go. Little Rue right here on 5.5 by 9, 140-pound Kilimanjaro. It even has a watermark. There it is right there. All right, so here it is. He's sitting up here in the... Somebody asked me if I'd ever painted a Roo like this the other day, and I said, I've painted just about Roos doing just about everything. And so one thing I learned, if you're going to paint a wine glass in a painting, go ahead and put the wine glass in first, and here's why, okay? You wonder why? Because you don't want to have to go, you want that glass to be clear. So in a minute, I'm going to put the Ruse belly in there through that glass, but not right now. I'm just not going to do it right at the moment. Let his feet hang over the tub here. Maybe one toe coming up like this. All right, this violin's probably going to have to change, even though I love it. I got a call a few years ago to come to a friend's house. So he called me. I knew what tools I was going to have to take. He called and he said, hey, man, I think I need your help. So what do you need? He said, we're moving into the new house. it's a new house to them, remodeled this old farmhouse. And my wife found this antique claw-footed bathtub. And while the guys were moving it in, they broke off one of the feet. I went, oh, no, man. I said, that's cast iron. I mean, those things were made, turn of the century. They weigh, he says, I know, they weigh what my refrigerator weighs. He said, is there any way you can put the leg back on for us? I go, not sure. No promises. Don't know if I can do it. Might just be history. I said, put it on a block, a brick. Put a brick under it, or settle in the bathtub very carefully when you do. So he, see where I'm going with this painting? There it is. I think I'm keeping it in front of the. So he said, well, what do you think? You think you give it a shot? So I loaded up my torch, my acetylene welder. Didn't use an arc welder because you can't use an arc welder on cast iron. Maybe you can today with nickel rods and stuff. And so I gathered everything up I needed, thinking high school days. Man, I once put an old cast iron skillet back together for a friend with some heavy brass. So I got the biggest brass rods I could find, and I went over to his house, and so there it was laying on the back porch, and his wife came out, and she said, man, This is so sad. I just got this thing for a song, and I'm just so sad. And so then I felt like, okay, I got to do this. And I said, but I got one shot. So long story short is, I put the leg back on that bathtub, and I told those guys carrying it in, if you break the other one off carrying it in the door, I'm going to weld you guys to the door. So they went, yes, sir. I'm 6'5" and I'm 250 pounds, and they're going like, yes, sir. And I'm going, but he's old. Yeah, but he looks kind of tough. And so anyway, I let my hair down, and I just had on my old welding hood. And so they're going like, this guy ain't right. We better do what he says. So they carried it in very carefully. All right, I think you can see where this painting's going, huh? Take a look at that. I'm going to close in on it just a little bit, give you just a little bit of would that be close up instead of close in? I'm sorry, there it is. I took it off the show finally, had it up there. My camera crews missed that this morning. It says hide over in the corner. All right, so in this case, I did do a little bit of a pencil sketch, and I'm just going to erase some of it just because I went in a little different direction. I changed his beak a little bit. So just a little bit of an eraser, not too much. I'm not ever worried about pencil lines when I send out watercolor. I actually love that. I like to go into people's houses and see original watercolor, and I like to see the study underneath where the artist was going like, I think I'll put that there, and I think I'll put that there. And he got carried away painting, and he went, shoot, I should have erased that, but I've already painted over it. But I do love that sometimes when you just leave it in there. So does that offend me in art? Does that look like it's not finished? No, it looks like the artist meant to do it. Maybe he didn't, but I would have bought it as original. I have something like that. So quit worrying about what other people think about your art. And you like it before you send it out to friends. You like it. You let it communicate. Let your art be a story, okay? All right, so here's the story. I'm going to paint this. I think I got time. I'm going to have to hustle. Oh, yeah, get some great music to paint it with. Here we go. You never know what's going to come up on this production classical playlist. This sounds like Aaron Copland again, Billy the Kid, I think. So it'll go back and forth a few times probably. Maybe I'll put a cowboy hat hanging on the nail over here. Saturday Night Bath. There we go. See, just titled it. I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to put some of this Lamy in here. Okay, this is just Lamy black fountain pen ink. And notice this this nib doesn't sketch really well on watercolor paper. So you got to kind of come in light and just do some drifting in here. Drifting, there's another good cowboy term. All right. I don't know if anybody else has fun, but this has brought me life during COVID. Just to get up in the morning and watercolor paint to some great music and laugh at yourself is a blessing. And thank you for riding along. Get into all the cowboy puns today. You know why cowboy hats are rolled up on the sides, right? Does anybody know that? I love doing my original sketch. Donna Zell Barton, you do, and I've seen your work. And by the way, you have some detailed work. Oh my gosh! But I do like seeing. I like seeing your. And sometimes the pencil lines do just melt away, and that's really fun to see that happen. It's just, I love it. I love it. I love it. Why do cowboy hats roll up on the side? So 4 of them can ride in a pickup truck together. That's why cowboy hats roll up on the side. Don't you love that? That's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny. I like that purple I used earlier. I'll just put a little more of that in there. That hadn't been on my desk very long. I just kind of pulled that out. Royal Amethyst, it's called. I actually had to buy some brown. I went to buy some brown because I get tired of all the different umbers. Umber this and umber that and this umber and that umber. And I'm going like, I don't even know what umber is. It sounds like a T-shirt company or something, shorts. So I went and got myself some brown, and this is transparent oxide brown. And I think I like it. It looks like dirt. And, I do a lot of dirt painting. So, all right, I need to mix up a little paint here again. Don't keep much of this mix. There's a little gamboge. Here's a little red. Not too much, just a touch. Wash my brush out. Go in there and give that a mix. In fact, that's a little too orange. Go back with a little more gamboge. There it is. I like that. It's pretty heavy. We'll throw a little bit of this gray in there, right there. Just give it a little mix. And that's kind of the color that I like my rooster feet, the legs. It's a little toned down orange. I don't know what color it would really be. I don't care. It's a little more just blah, but you know, his feet are, he's in the bath. He needed a shower or a bath. All right. We'll put a little more red right in here, just like, and maybe just break the plane on that bathtub a little bit with some feathers coming down right here. Maybe a little red feather back here coming in. See how that blue and that mix there got a little green up on the shoulder? I like that. That works well. What time have I got? 9:55. I'm hustling. I think I can do it. The pressure's on. All right. Let's get over here and paint this wine bottle. I think we got to pick up some pretty dark, need some wine color for that. Let's just do that right there. We'll just put a little bit of this in the glass while we're in there too. Look at that right there. Zip. Oh yeah, that's perfect. All right. I think what I'm going to do on the grapes is just kind of come in with, I'm barely going to, watch this. I'm taking this brush, and I'm barely going to touch the edge of my pan. Whoops. Touch the edge of my pan in this blue, just barely grazing it in there. And I'm going to go in here and just punch these grapes a little bit like this. Look, just punch them. I didn't paint them, I punched them in. And here's why. Interesting that rooster's in the tub and not a hen. Well, not if you live where I live. I have a sunken tub. That's it. You know what I want to do with this cheese? Look at this. I want to make this Swiss cheese so it really does look like cheese. There it is. You'll know the wine has a rooster on it, right? Yeah, it's Haun wine, which is from Monterey, California. Not my company, by the way. Spells it with an H, not two N's, not a U-N, not a W-N, the way Jessica Haun spelled hers back in the days of, was that, who was it? What president was that that got in trouble with Jessica? I don't remember. Don't want to remember. All right, let me just go and drop a little bit of color on this tub, and I'm about ready to wrap this piece up. I'll come back and do a little more detail on this before I post it out. There's a little bit of red running right there. I can catch that. Maybe I can't. Doesn't matter. You get the point. Let's go in. These legs are dark, so we'll do them. I know they are because I just repaired one, told you. So I was repairing this old bathtub and thought, hey, that would be a good idea for a painting. Okay, so now if I had my, here it is right here, I'd do a little floor here with this pen. This is an ultra fine flare pen. I think you can see what I'm doing here. I've moved this thing all around today. I'm not probably making you seasick, but got a lot of painting done today, so it's been fun to have you ride along. All right. And I got to finish at 10 today and go see my wife before she takes off out the door to run 2 other errands. The woman needs a personal assistant, and I'm not that person. All right, so there we go. I need a little color on the cheese, pasta cheese grommet, and maybe a little yellow mixed. There it is right there. I think the caption needs to be, I don't suppose you could move the wine and cheese a little closer, something like that. Okay, so there's my little painting this morning of a roux in a tub. And it's not even Saturday night. And maybe that's maybe that's something with Saturday night. I don't know. And I'll come in and do a little splatter here and there and finish up. All right. So fun way to create a painting. And also I have to do the details. You notice they're missing here. I haven't done the toenails and the little veining that I do. This paint's still too wet for me to do that. Started about 3 minutes late to make that work. I would touch that blue. Here's where you come back in and you go, this is rough and there's all sorts of stuff. I touch a little, look at this, just a little blue in the glass right there with a clean brush. And then maybe fill that in just a little bit. Isn't that amazing? You can take a little bamboo brush and just kind of get that in there. And I want a little more depth in this color right here. So I'm going to add a couple more swips of that in there. All right. So that was fun to do. Here's the thing. The captions come from just looking at the painting as you paint it. And sort of like finding this dog. I didn't know I would never think about painting a dog. I don't paint anything with 4 legs. Matter of fact, I still haven't. So, but you get the concept here of what I was trying to do. Now, there's a couple things missing that'll happen in here, and that is, can I do this in 1 minute? Yeah, and I'll put some bubbles in here like this. Look, just these little little lines that just look like this, and here, and then I'll go in with just a touch of watercolor paint. Stop rolling that brush around, and just with some of this over here on the edge, just get a little bit of this and just touch it. Too much. Watch, I'm going to do that with all of them. That's enough. And then maybe just some splatter right in there like that. And so that looks like some bubbles are coming up. See that? Maybe a couple little ones right here. And just, they're not full circles. They're just little marks that give us the translucent look. That's still too much blue. So I'm just going to use that to do these others that I did. There's some bubbles coming up right there. Bloop, 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 bloop. If you can see those close enough. All right. Bring me the grit is probably what you should say. And that's what I got to say. Listen, because when I finish up here, I'm going to go have a cup of tea, say good morning to Carol. And then I've got a grit painting that's due today, deadline by this afternoon. And I have it sketched, and that's it. All right. Blessings to you. No show tomorrow, but there is a class. For those of you who are in Rue 857, jump on. You know, you can still subscribe to my email, and it's I'll post another thing on Flowdesk. You can subscribe there. You can find cups. I haven't reprinted the bags, but working on it. And you can always, in fact, I got some books to paint today too, because I got to mail out books and some coffee mugs. I got all my mail together yesterday and drove to the post office and went, it's Martin Luther King Day. What a blessed man he was. All right, thank you so much. I love you, having you guys on the show. Thanks for loving the show. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for sharing the show. I really do mean that. That means a lot. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. Gone. See you Saturday morning to this crew. For those of you in the class, see you in the morning at 8:57. Little soundtrack to leave. Bye.